Hello students, this is the second video of the chapter The Story of Village Palampur from class 9 economics. So let's start. Today's topic is farming in Palampur. The first one, land is fixed. Farming is the main production activity in Palampur. 75% of the people who are working are dependent on farming for their livelihood. Students, in Palampur it's just an example, and in this village main activities of the people is farming. They are dependent on farming, doing agriculture activities, and 75% of the people are dependent. They could be farmers or they could be farm laborers, because not all the people are having their own land. Those who are landless, they are working on someone else's farm. The well-being of these people is closely related to the production on the farm. It means whatever produce they are getting, if maximum produce they are getting, then they will get more profit and they will be more developed and their livelihood will be better. But remember that there is always basic constraint in raising the farm production. That is the first and main is the land area. So what is the land area they are getting under the cultivation is practically fixed. So the point we are discussing, land is fixed. So fixed land area is there, and since 1960s in Palampur there has been no expansion in land area under the cultivation. It means from 1960s there is the fixed land they are using, and by then some of the wastelands are converted into cultivable land. Except that there is no other option for the increase of cultivation area. Students, here in colored part word is given that the hectare, it means the unit of measuring land is hectare, but in villages people are using different words like biga or guntha. 1 hectare equals to the area of square with the one side measuring 100 meter. The second point we are going to discuss here is there a way one can grow from the same land. So first we discuss that land is fixed. Particular farmers they are getting a fixed land. Land will not increase. So from the same patch of the land, from the same land, limited land, they need to grow more. So how they will able to grow more from the same land? Now there are different ways for that we will discuss here. In the kind of crops grown and facilities available. So first we will discuss that in Palampur what are the different crops they are growing. Students, Palampur is just an example. It's resemble a village of western part of the state of Uttar Pradesh, Bulandshahr. Now all land is cultivated in Palampur and no land is left idle. It means whatever cultivable land is there, people are cultivating that. So let us discuss different crops during the rainy season, that is also known as Kharif. Students, these are the agricultural seasons like cropping seasons. They are also known like Kharif, then Rabi and Zaid. Kharif is the rainy season, winter season is a Rabi season, and one more is there, that is the summer Zaid. Here we are discussing that in Kharif season farmers grow jowar and bajra, and these are the plants they use for the cattle feed, means for the feeding of the cattle like buffaloes, cow. These crops are grown. They are jowar and bajra. It is followed by cultivation of potato also in the month of October and December. In winter season they grow here wheat, and from the wheat produce farmers keep enough wheat for the family's consumption. It means whatever produce they are getting, they will take take the part of the produce for the consumption of family need, and whatever left, it is called the surplus produce that they will sell to the nearest market, that is Raiganj. A part of the land area is also devoted to sugarcane, which is harvested once every year. So sugarcane is also harvested here, cultivated here, and raw material, this is the raw material for the jaggery, that is gur, and is sold to the traders in Shahpur. Students, in the introduction part we discussed that already Shahpur is the nearest place, then Raiganj is also there. Crops we have discussed here like jowar, bajra we discussed, kharif crops, then rabi crop, wheat, and sugarcane, that is the cash crop they are growing here. The main reason why farmers are able to grow 3 different crops in a year, so the reason is their irrigation. Students, in Palampur, farmers are getting the regular supply of the water. Irrigation facilities is there, and how they are able to use the irrigation, because electricity came early to the village, and that's why farmers are able to use different irrigation facilities, like they are using tube wells, and to fetch the water, electric pumps, submersible pumps are used. So electricity helps a lot to the farmers to irrigate the fields, and now they are not dependent on the rainy season and on the rain even. So throughout the year they are able to take more seasons, it means 3 different crops in a year. Now except the irrigation tube well, there are a lot of other facility also there that we will further discuss in this chapter. uh, Earlier, when electricity was not there, what method they were using, like Persian wheels were till then used by the farmers to draw the water from the wells and irrigate small fields, but they can now irrigate large fields with the use of electricity and tube wells. So people show that the electric run tube wells could irrigate much larger area of the land more effectively. So they can now irrigate more lands with less time and less effort. First few tube wells were installed by the government, and time to time now many of the farmers started setting up private tube wells. By 1970s, entire cultivated area of 200 hectares was irrigated. Students, here we are discussing one example of a village, but not all the villages in India have such high level of irrigation. Many of the villages still are not getting electricity, and if getting, so not continuous supply they are getting. That's why they are not able to irrigate their fields regularly, and that's why they are not able to take maximum of the crops 3 season. They are only able to take 1 or 3 seasons in a year. Many of the farmers still dependent on rain only. In the country, a little less than 40% is irrigated even today. So let's discuss further. To grow more than one crop, some other things are also there, that on a same piece of land during the year, taking more crops is known as the multiple cropping. So this is the definition, you need to point it out, you need to highlight the point. To grow more than one crop on a piece of land during the year is known as multiple cropping. As we discussed, farmers are taking more than one crop, so it's a multiple cropping system. It is the most common way of increasing production on a given piece of land. To produce more, like irrigation and multiple cropping, there are some more things farmers are using, that growing potato as a third crop in the past 15 years to 20 years. Different crops that we discuss, pictures are given here. 1.3 students, you can see here wheat, bajra, sugarcane, potato. So these are the different crops. Now let us discuss some more things here. 1.1 point table is given. So we can see here that cultivated area is not much increase, and there is not much difference we can see. From 1950s, 120 million hectare was land cultivated area, but after that almost every decade later, in 2010-11, the latest figure is given here, is also 140 million hectares cultivated area. So there is not much changes, and here in below that graph is there, also we can see that that is continuously same, there is no much difference is there. Now let's discuss further. Here some questions are there. So one question is there, is it important to increase the area under irrigation? Why? Students, for examination purpose also you need to refer all such questions, because many of the in-text question are asked. So let's discuss the answer. Is it important to increase the area under irrigation? So yes. And why? Because if area under irrigation is increased, then farmers will be able to take more crops, so they will be able to use multiple cropping and take more than one season, 3 seasons they can take, and it's a need, because to meet the demand of the growing population, more farming produce is required. Let us discuss further. You have seen that one way of increasing production from the same land is multiple cropping, and with that multiple cropping, one more way is there, that is the modern farming method. So students, multiple cropping we discuss. Now let us discuss modern farming. Modern farming, as per the name, it's farming where modern equipments are used, modern inputs are used. Before the discussion, let us see the table. Here one blank table is there, and you need to fill it up. You can easily fill it up with the details already we discussed, like name of the crop, any three crops like we discussed, potatoes, sugarcane, wheat. So three crops, then month sown, which are the month they are sown, and same time when they harvested, so month of harvested, and source of irrigation you need to mention here, that rain, tanks, tube wells, canals, etc. Now let us discuss what are the other modern farming methods. So modern farming methods are for the higher yield. Yield means the farm produce, whatever produce they are getting, it is known as yield. So yield is measured as the crop produce on a given piece of land during the single season. So to get the higher yield, HYV seeds are introduced. Earlier in up to the 1960s, farmers were using traditional seeds, but same time with the traditional seeds, they were not using any fertilizers or insecticides. Instead, they were using cow dung and other natural manure as fertilizer, and that enables to get only limited produce from the land. To increase the produce, some methods are included. First of all, with the introduction of the green revolution in late 1960s. In 1960s, green revolution was introduced, and with that HYV seeds were introduced. Now HYV seeds means high yielding variety seeds. So this point you need to highlight, that high yielding variety seeds. Through these seeds, farmers can get the better produce compared to the traditional seeds. Same time, HYV seeds promise to produce much greater amount of the grain on a single plant, and same with the seeds, farmers now using fertilizers, insecticides, so they can prevent the plants from insecticides and from any of the farming produce from the disease. Different inputs are given here in this picture 1.4. You can see here that what are the modern inputs, modern farming methods. So first we discussed that HYV seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides. On left side, farm machineries like tractors, threshers, harvesters. Fuel they are using, like here given diesel, that some pumps, submersible pumps are there with electricity, and same time some fuel consuming pump also available. Irrigation are for irrigation also different means are there, that canals, if nearby river or reserves is there, so they can get water through canal. Nearby dam is there, so the farmers around the villages also will be able to get irrigation method, irrigation facilities. Electricity that enables running tube well, pump set we can see here. So these are the modern farming method. Now further let's discuss that with use of pesticides and chemical fertilizers produce the best results and higher yield were possibly only from a combination of HYV seeds, irrigation, chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Using all these modern method, now farmers are able to get the maximum produce of the farming. Now farmers of Punjab and Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh were the first to try out the modern farming method in India. Farmers in these regions set up tube wells for irrigation and made use of HYV seeds, chemical fertilizers, pesticides. Now farmers using all these methods, they are using tractors, plowing, harvesters. So less with the less time, with the less effort, now farmers are able to get the maximum produce and best produce. They are getting best price also. So in Palampur, the yield of wheat grown from the traditional varieties were 1300 kg. So here is the completely comparison is given. So clearly we can see here In the yield of wheat grown from traditional varieties, it means from traditional variety seeds, they are getting only 1300 kg per hectare, and on the same land with the use of HYV seeds, now what they are getting, almost it's double and more than double, like 3200 kg per hectare they are getting. There was a large increase in the production of wheat. Farmers now had greater amount of surplus wheat to sell in the market. So from earlier time, after the consumption, they were get only few produce left, but now they are getting maximum greater amount of surplus, and with the sale of produce they will get more money, they will more develop. Now they can get the best produce, and their livelihood will also becoming better. uh, Again, some more questions are there from in text. So what is the difference between the multiple cropping and modern farming method? Already students we discussed, so you can easily get the answer. Multiple cropping, that on a single piece of land taking more than one season, almost 3 seasons in a year, while modern farming includes the modern inputs like different irrigation facility, fertilizers, HYV seeds, chemical fertilizer, insecticide, pesticides, all these things. Now one more thing question is there, that is the what is the working capital required by the farmers using the modern farming method. So what is the working capital required? Earlier also we discussed that different type of uh, factors are there for the production. So what are the factors of production? Already we discussed, this is one of them, working capital. What is the working capital required? So farmers will require to buy the capital. Working capital means they will require money for buying the HYV seeds, chemical fertilizer, for buying the equipments, technological equipments, and some tractors, harvester, threshers, all these things. Here 1.2 table is their production of pulses and wheat in million ton. So clearly we can see here production of pulses are on left side on, and wheat production of wheat is also given on right side. So clearly we can see here from 1965 to 2012-13, pulses are not increased much, but wheat production is increased a lot. So wheat production continuously increase, that we can see here. Okay, now let's move to the row 2. Modern farming method required the farmers to start with more cash than before. One more question is there. Yes, so modern farming method required the farmers to start with more cash, because to buy all these things they will require the capital and more money. So that cost them, but same time after using all these things they will get more produce, and they will be able to take more cash, take more profit from the same piece of land. Okay, let us discuss some more question. What kind of farming method, or modern or traditional or mix, do the farmers use? So this is also discussed, students, so we can easily uh, collect the answers that the what kind of farming method, different methods. That modern farming method we discussed, traditional, that earlier one, mixed farming means multiple cropping, different crops, or different crops in a single agriculture year. So different method they are using. Now what are the source of irrigation? That is the second question. What are the source of irrigation? So canals, tube wells, or pump set, and dams, these are the different sources. Okay, how much of cultivated land is irrigated? So mostly different graphs and details we have seen. Here options are there. So how much of cultivated land is irrigated? Almost already we discussed that all the cultivated, the last option will be the answer, that all the cultivated land is irrigated. And from where do farmers obtain the inputs they require? So modern farming inputs that we discuss, from where they will able to get this? They will be able to get this from the nearest town, nearest market, Shahpur, nearest village, as well as the Raiganj we discussed. So nearest town they will get all these things. Okay students, so up to here we have discussed. In the next video we will be discussing the third point, that is the sustainability of land, and further about the land distributed between the farmers of Palampur. Thanks for joining me, and if you like the content, please like, share and subscribe. Thanks.